G'day, my name's Don McQueen and I'd like to do one of my favourite poems for you. It's called Mulligan's Mob and it's written by Greg Scott and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Old Mulligan's shack lay well off the track on a run that was stony and sour. A settler's block, it was hard as a rock with no telephone, water or power. And old Mulligan too was as tough as a roo, though he'd mellowed considerably, for he'd wed late in life, and his darling young wife was expecting their first progeny. Now the prospect he had of becoming a dad filled Mulligan's heart with joy, and he knew that he oughta be pleased with a daughter, but secretly he hoped for a boy, a strapping young lad. He could help his old dad and see his mum came to no harm. He'd be handsome and game, and he'd have the Mulligan name and the dubious bequest of the farm. He sent for his sister a fortnight before. She was skilled in midwifery's art. As his darling wife grew, he knew she was due by the dates on his old carving chart. Then early one morning, as Mulligan dreamed of the future in store for his son, he was woken in fear by a voice in his ear. "Wake up, Pat, I think me time's come." Well, he flew into action like Mulligan could. He lit the lantern and stoked up the fire. He woke up his sister and split some more wood, then dressed in delivery attire. As time shuffled by, the tension ran high as his poor wife lay gasping and panting, while Mulligan stood like petrified wood with a white-knuckled grip on the lantern. Then very soon after, midst crying and laughter, relief intermingled with joy, in that little bush shack on Mulligan's track, the midwife delivered a boy. As the young fella screamed, old Mulligan beamed on that morning he'd never forget. Then he heard his wife say, in her casual way, "I don't think I've quite finished yet." As the words that she said spun round in his head, his sister flew into top gear. She said, "Well, fancy that. Hold the lad still, Pat. I think there's another one here." By the flickering light, they could see she was right, and they marvelled from one to the other. Then, "Push now, my love," and his wife gave a shove. Then old Mulligan's son had a brother. As the second son squealed, old Mulligan reeled. He was stunned by his wife's awesome plumbing, and quite unprepared when the midwife declared, "I think there's another one coming." As old Mulligan looked, his wife's body shook and her face wore a trance-like expression. His sister said, "Pat, well, how about that?" as two daughters arrived in succession. Now the next little while was recalled with a smile by his sister for many years after, and the Mulligan crew saw the joke in it too, although it nearly finished in a disaster. At the sight of four babies, all squealing and damp, lined up at the foot of the bed, old Mulligan turned and blew out the lamp, as if something had snapped in his head. But then, from the darkness, came his terrified roar, as his wife gave a final contraction. "I've got four on the floor. I don't want any more. It must be the light that attracts them." As now the years have rolled by, and the laughter rings high round the table at Mulligan's camp, as four kids want to know of that time long ago when old Mulligan blew out the lamp.